Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, how are you? My name's Allie, and if you're coming back, so good to see you again. So today I'm going to be sharing a story that I've been wanting to share for so long, my little Wattpad moment of my life. Y'all all know the fan fictions we used to read when we were like 12, or maybe still do read sometimes. Yeah, I lived one, okay? And girl, you better bet I'm gonna talk on it, cause like, Also, side note before we get into the video, do y'all like my new hair? Girl, I posted it on Instagram a few days ago and I think y'all loved it, but like, yeah, I love it, so. Also side note, why do I look like my stuffy right now? So let's get into the story. I have a famous musician hit on me at Goodwill and then took me backstage at his concert. Okay, so the story takes place back in spring of 2022. I had just broken up with my boyfriend at the time, not Gage, but a different ex. And I was laying in bed and I was like, oh, I'm so sad. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, life is like meaningless without him. Okay, I didn't feel that dramatic, but I was sad, you know what I mean? And I was like, girl, we cannot weep in bed like this. It's not a cute look, you know? And so I was like, what can we do to get our minds off of things? Thrifting therapy. Obviously, literally obviously, if I'm ever sad, that's where I'm going, is the thrift store. So I'm like, okay, let's get off our bum ass. Let's like do our makeup, you know, put on a cute fit and go see what's at the local Goodwill. So this is the outfit I wore. And honestly, girl, it was so mid. Like, please, like, I don't know what I was doing with all these like bright colors. It's just there's like no matching, no cohesion, but you know, I was on breakup brain. So I was like, this is just, it's gonna have to work. So I pull up to this Goodwill, right? And I walk in, I'm like ready to find some cute things, but little did I know I wouldn't only just be finding cute clothing pieces, but I'd be finding some cute little boys. So I walked in and like immediately I saw this like group of boys like standing in front of a mirror, like looking at some items and stuff. And I was like, oh, because they were little like skater boys. And that's literally my type. So I was like, okay, like, they looking a little dead. They looking a little like if they took one more like cigarette puff, they'd literally pass away. Like, you know, I was getting excited. And so I'm like, how am I gonna get them to see me? You know, like they've got to notice me, because I was too scared to approach, because I was like, this is a whole ass like group of like 5 or 6 guys. Like I can't, like, I'm not that confident, you know? So I'm like, I'm just gonna like walk in their vicinity and like, you know, look cute, look like just, you know, a little manic pixie dream girl. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? And so I'm like walking around them. I'm kind of like side eyeing, like, are they noticing me? Nothing happens. So I'm like, okay, we gotta step this up, right? So then they head to like the line to check out, and I'm like, oh my God, y'all, like this is my last chance. Like I gotta make this work right now or I'm never gonna see these boys again. I like found a cute little like lingerie slip, and I was like, ooh, there's like near where the checkout line is are the dressing rooms, and near the dressing rooms is like a mirror. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna like take this lingerie dress and go to the mirror near the dressing rooms and like, you know, like put the hanger over my head. So I'm like, oh, looking at it like just in the mirror, but the boys will literally be like 2 feet away from me standing in line to check out. So like they have to see me, right? Like they have to like notice me. So I like go over and I like put the hanger over my head, and I'm like, you know, looking like in the mirror, like, is this cute? Like low-key, like, am I cute? Like to them, like, you know what I mean? Nothing happens. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. Like, you know, maybe my outfit's a little whack today. Like they're looking skater boy and I'm wearing fucking neon green and neon pink. Like they're probably like not interested at all. But yeah, so then I'm like, okay, mission failed. Like it was an attempt. I tried, but that's at least I can say that. So then I'm like, okay, ditch effort. I leave and I'm like just going through racks, like let me just like find like some cute little like mini skirt to lift my spirits or something. Girl, I feel a little tap on my shoulder, and I'm like, yes. Girl, the finest one of the group is like, hey. And I was like, hey. But then he goes, I think I've seen you on TikTok. And I was like, oh my God, because at this time I was making like low-key like thirst traps on my TikTok, like the ones where like you lip sync to a song that's trending and you just like look pretty and like cute or whatever. I was making those, okay? It was dark days, guys, okay? It was just it's just how it had to be. So I'm kind of like, oh, that's kind of cringe, but I was like, oh, ha, ha. Like, he was like, yeah, I recognize your red hair, because at the time I had, you know, my bright red hair. And I was like, oh yeah, that's me. And then he's like, but you know, it's crazy because like, I'm not from Texas, or I'm not from Houston. And I was like, okay, like, crazy. Like, I don't know, like, what do you want me to say to that? And so I was like, okay, like, where are you from? Da-da-da. And he's like, I'm from, and I'm not gonna say the city because I don't want to like reveal this man's identity, but he told me what state he was from. And then I was like, oh, and he's like, yeah, I'm actually on tour right now. And I was like, oh. He's like, yeah, we're playing at House of Blues tonight. And I was like, oh, House of Blues, like, girl, that is a venue if there is any venue. And I'm like, oh, that's like so cool. Like, and girl, my type's low-key musicians too, so I'm like, oh my god, like, you're just so fine right now, like, please. And so he's like, oh, yeah, you should come to my show. Okay, I'm being so dramatic. He was literally not he was not acting like that. Like, he was actually so sweet, but he was like, yeah, like, you should come to my show. And I was like, should I? Like, And so I'm like, okay, like, let me get your Instagram, like, whatever. So I got his Instagram, and then yeah, he left. And I was like, oh my god, because I had planned to go home and like visit my mom that night because I was like, you know, really sad about my breakup or whatever. And I was like, I just need some family moments, like some family time. But now I'm like, oh my god, like this is my moment. Like, this is when I was like thinking, like, this is my Wattpad moment, you know what I mean? So I text my mom and I'm like, hey girly pop, like, I just got invited to someone's show. So like, can't be home tonight, miss you, love you, see you next time. And she was like, girl, be careful, but like, girl, have fun. Like, my mom knows where it's at, you know? And so at this point, I'm like, girl, I don't want to pay money to go to his show. Like, what if he's bad? Like, okay, no, but I had looked him up on Spotify because he told me his like artist name, and he had like 500,000 listeners. So basically, like, to me, that's famous. Like, so that's pretty crazy. Like, his top song had like millions of hits. So I was like, okay, girl, like, and he was good. He sounded like Daniel Caesar, please. Like, that was his music style. So I was like, okay, like, this is cute or whatever. But again, like, I was like, I don't want to, like, you know, spend money on him like that, you know? I don't know, like, I was just like, nah. So I was like, oh, maybe he'll like take me backstage. So I DM him, I'm like, okay, like, what's the details? Like, when are you going on? Like, da-da-da. And he's like, yeah, the show starts at like 8 or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to see you, da-da-da. And then I'm like, okay, girl, but like, can you get me backstage, you know? He was like, yeah, we can make that work. Like, girl, I was like, bye, okay, girl, like, I'll be there. So at this point, it's like 6:37 p.m. or something. I'm like, holy crap, like, I gotta go. So I literally like rushed home. I put on the lingerie dress that I literally found at Goodwill, and I was like, oh, I'm looking cute. Like, I'm looking more like skater, like, I'm looking more like darker color, like, vibe. And I was like, okay, this is like the move. Like, this is sexy. And so I pull up to the venue. It was so crazy because there was like the whole like big ass like line outside, like all these fans like waiting. And I was just like, let me pass the lineup, like, my man's in there. So I get to like the front doors and I'm like DMing him, and I'm like, hey, like, I'm here, whatever. He comes and he gets me and he like pulls me inside, and I'm like looking at all the girls in line. I'm like, that's my man. So then he takes me backstage, girl. Like, at this point I'm sweating because I'm like, what the hell? Like, what the hell is happening right now? Like, I've been to House of Blues so many times, like, as an audience member, and I was just like, how the hell? Like, I had like my little backstage like wristband on. I was like getting past all the security. He was like, she's with me. And I was like, yeah, I'm with him. Like, so then like we get backstage, and so he was like the opener for like another band, and so he like introduces me to this like band, and I'm like, what the hell is this? this? Like, and so like they're all just like chilling. Again, they're very like indie, like skater vibe, like I don't know, that's like what they looked like. And I was just like, I'm sweating right now, like, okay guys, hey everyone, you know. And they were like, you know, doing the drogas, and I'm like, oh girl, because like I don't do drugs, so I'm just sitting there like like I don't know what to do, like how do I look cool without like doing drugs, literally. So I'm just sitting there like, okay. And then there was like these two other girls that were like with them, and they were like I guess like groupies is honestly like the best word to say, because they told me that like they met them at like one of their shows, and then they were like touring the country with them, which like I was like, girl, that's crazy, like don't you got college classes? Like we were all at college age. But I was like, okay cool. So like I was like, you know, talking to them, like getting to know them, whatever. I'm like fucking nervous to talk to the guy that brought me, so I'm like, let me just girl it up over here, a little kiki moment. So I'm like getting to know them, and then they're like, so how did you meet? We're gonna call him M for musician. So they're like, how did you meet M? And I'm like, oh, like he hit on me at Goodwill. And then they were like, no way, girl, like, oh my god. And I was like, yeah, I know. And they're like, oh my god. And I was like, I know. And they're like, oh my god. I was like, I know. And they were like, girl, let me tell you something, like we have been to most of their shows and he has never brought a girl backstage. And I was like, you said what? Because at this point I was kind of thinking like, okay, whatever, like it's just a little kiki moment, because like he probably does this in literally like every single city, like I'm not oblivious to like the musician lifestyle, right? So I was just like, oh, okay, whatever, like let's just have a fun time. But at this point I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm special, you know? And then they're like, yeah girl, like every time there's like a fan taking a picture with him, or like any girls like us, like we want to take a picture with him, he never like touches our waist, like he's always like really respectful. And like I was like like who is this rare fine ass specimen right now, like what? And so now I'm even like more excited, because I'm like, damn, like he's like a respectful, like sweet guy, like this is so cute right now, like what? And of course I just felt like the freaking shit, because like he really said like you're special, is what I felt like, you know? So then we're just hanging out, we're talking, whatever, it's like the vibe. And then they're like, okay, like time to go on stage. And I'm like, okay. So he goes out, he's the opener, he goes on stage, and I'm like behind like the barricades and like the little like backstage area, and I'm like watching him, and like all these girls are like, whatever, and like so excited to see him. He literally is so good too, like his voice is unmatched. Like if you're watching this, because you might be, you have an amazing voice, sir. And so I'm like, oh my god, like what? Again, like y'all, let's just give a wetpad. And I'm gonna put like a picture or like a little video right there. Yeah, and he like was good stage presence too, like he was moving around, he was engaging with the crowd. I was like, that's kind of sexy, you know? And then after he performed, he came down, and I was like, you did so well, like, twirl my little hair, you know, do a little hair flip, like a little like kiki. And then the main act like went on, and so he was like, let's go to like the back of the venue and like watch from the back, it's like the vibe. And I was like, okay, sure. So we like went to the back of the venue and just like stood near the bar, and then as they're performing, like we were just talking and like getting to know each other. And I was like, oh my god, like how'd you get into music and all this stuff? And y'all, this man at the time, he was 20 or 21, 20 I think. And so he's young, like I was 21 and he was 20 I think. So I was like, oh my god, like how are you so successful and you're literally 20? Like that's so crazy, girl. Anyway, so we're chatting it up, and then he's like, do you want to like do something, like do you want to like go somewhere? And I was like, oh, like go somewhere. But then he was like, I don't really know like Houston, but like we could do something fun. And so I was like, oh okay, like but girl, like back when I was 21 I was low-key lame, like I didn't do anything like night fun activities, like I didn't go clubbing or like go to bars or like whatever. So I was like, I don't know where to take this man, like so girl, I take him to House of Pies. If you don't know what House of Pies is? It's like a little cafe, but they like specialize in pies and they're open like really late. So I was like, let's just go there. Cause I was like, literally it's so late. Like, where am I gonna take you? And like, I also was just not feeling like the club vibe. Like I was like, I don't know, like that was not my thing. So I was like, okay, let's go to House of Pies. So I drive him and myself to House of Pies and we just have a nice little like conversation, whatever, eating our pancakes at fucking like 12 a.m. After we do that, like nothing interesting particularly happened there. We just talked we had a good banter going. Like we were bantering, you know? Like he really gets the kind of like flirting that's like mean flirting. Like I feel like my flirt vibe is like different with every guy I talk to, like based on like the vibes or like the way I'm feeling about myself in the moment or like what I want from like the situation. But yeah, I just felt like I had to like be confident because like this man is so fucking cool. Like I was not about to like, I don't know, like just be like kiki. Like I was like trying to be like, yeah, like I'm that girl, you know? So anyway, I'm like kind of bully flirting him, like making fun of him and stuff, but he was like keeping up. Like it was just, oh my God, like we just like clicked so freaking well. Like it was a vibe. So then I was like, okay, he was like talking about like how he like loves college campuses and like every time he goes to a city he'll like tour one because like he never went to college, so it's like really interesting for him. And I was like, oh my God, now you're being like a superstar. Like that's like what the superstars in the movies say. Like they're like, oh, I wish I like led like a normal like college student life. Like that was literally him. Like he was like, sometimes I just wish like I went to college, da da da. So he's like, yeah, I love like touring college campuses. And I was like, well, perfect, because I live on one. And so I was like, yeah, like let me take you to Rice, like you can see my dorm and like whatever. So lo and behold, we like drive to Rice and we're like walking from the parking lot to my dorm. I was gonna like show him our commons and like, yeah, like I said, like my dorm. And we're literally walking up to the like college commons spaces. And this car pulls up and it's a car full of girls, like 4 girls or whatever. And they roll down their window and they're like, oh my God. And I was like, what the hell is happening? Forgetting that I'm literally standing with a celebrity right now, like, and they're like, oh my God, you just performed at House of Bliss. And he was like, yeah, like that was me. And they were like, like you're so good. And I was like, like not me getting caught walking to my dorm with this man. And so I was like, wow, that was really like paparazzi little moment there. Like I was feeling like, damn, like, is this real right now? So then I'm like, I take him to like our college common spaces and I'm like showing him around. I'm like, yeah, like this is like where we eat and this is where we like hang out and watch TV and like play pool and stuff, whatever. And then like we have like a little quad area outside the dorm that I lived in and it had like a hammock and like picnic tables and stuff like that. So we like get in the hammock and I'm like, oh my God, like I was like, not us being like laid up to right next to each other right now. Like this is just a little too much, you know? Like I was nervous. Okay, girl, I was nervous. And so anyway, we're just like laying and talking and I'm like, whatever. And then girl, he's like, so do you want to like kiss right now? I think that's how he said it. I can't remember exactly how he said it, but I remember it being like, it wasn't just like, can I kiss you? But it was like, so do you want to kiss right now? And I was like, oh, like it kind of felt like he was like, I feel like this is what we are supposed to do, you know? Like he didn't say it like, oh, I really want to kiss you, or like, can I kiss you? It was like, so should we kiss right now? Like like bro was not experienced with this kind of situation. And I was like, oh girl, like I mean, yes, but like no, because we were in like the open space of my college and I was like, I literally am not trying to get caught with this man right now. Like I just do not want anyone in my college dorm to see me kissing this man. Like just not the vibe. Like, and so I was like, oh, like maybe later. Like I was just like, oh, we're just like really exposed right now, so maybe like later. And then he was like, okay. It was so awkward, but I was like, oh, like he's respectful, he's cute, okay, whatever. So then we do just like some more talking and da da da. Then I'm like, okay, like let me show you my dorm room. And so I take him up to my dorm room and girl, my dorm room was a fucking closet, okay? It literally was like It was so small. Like, I swear it was just like a bed and then a little like 1 foot of walking space and then a dresser and a desk. And that's like all. Like, literally, if you walked in, there's only like 1 foot of space between my desk and dresser and my bed. And so I show him, and I walked in though, and my roommate was there with her, like this guy she was seeing at the time that she like wanted to date. And I was just like, hey girl, this is a little awkward, because, you know, I'd been like a relationship girly before this, but I was like just bringing this random guy back. So I was kind of like, hey girl, this is a famous musician, say hi. No, but, and then we went into my room and they like showed him everything. And then I was like, damn, it's like fucking 2 a.m. Like, girl, like I just, like I'm not trying to drive you back to your Airbnb. So he slept over. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But here's the crazy thing, okay? I was starting to get like a sore throat at this point. I'm like, girl, why is my throat so itchy? Like, I'm coughing, but it's so embarrassing. First of all, it's embarrassing to cough in general, but like it's even worse when you're like with someone you're like attracted to and into or whatever. And so I'm like trying like not to cough, but you know, you can't control that, you know? So I'm like doing that little number like every 2 freaking seconds. And he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, it's allergies, girl. Be for real. But I was just telling them that, like, I promise it's just allergies. Like, I'm not sick. Like, it's just allergies. There was like literally one point it got so bad. I like went to the restroom and I turned on the faucet and I just started like freaking full on just like coughing because I was like, girl, I can't with this right now. Like, I literally am so embarrassed, but like I gotta cough. And then I like came back and I was like, hey. After just like hacking up a storm in the restroom, literally. Anyway, we go to sleep, we wake up the next morning and he's like, yeah, I got some time like before like I gotta go back to like my Airbnb so we can like hit the road. And so I was like, okay. And I was like, you know what, like let me take you to this place called Restoration Hardware. It's this cute little like furniture store. Girl, like I literally didn't know where to take this man. Like I did not know, okay? So I was like, let's just go to this furniture store. Why the fuck not? So we literally show up to this freaking furniture store and we just like walked around and like talked about the furniture and like again we were just like bantering and it was like just cute. Okay, nothing really super interesting happened. And then I took him back to his Airbnb and then I was like, wow, like that was literally so crazy. And I was like, I'm never gonna see this man again. Like what just happened in the last 24 like hours? Like I blah 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 blah, you know? I can't deal. So I dropped him back and then I went home and I was like still like coughing and I was like feeling like really like I was like sweating and like I was like, oh my god, girl, this is not good news. Girl, I got home. I tested positive for COVID. Yep. And so I'm like, I gotta tell this man that I gave him COVID. Like, because I was just like, there's no way he's not gonna catch it. Like, we literally shared saliva. Like, this man is definitely gonna get COVID and he's on tour. And I was like, this is so bad because like he sings and like he's gonna get sick. I was like, I'm so freaking embarrassed right now. But like, I didn't know. Like, I literally didn't know until like after like we had spent time together. And so I was like, I really like, it's kind of not my fault, but I was like so embarrassed, but I was like, it's the right thing to do. So I like, after like 2 hours after I dropped him off, I texted him and I was like, hey friend, like loved getting to know you. Also I gave you COVID. It felt like telling someone you gave them an STD. Like that's how scared I felt. Oh my gosh. But, and then he was like, bruh. He literally responded, bruh. And I was like, oh, fuck me. But then he was like, nah, it's fine. I had COVID like a little bit ago, so I'm probably immune. And so I was like, okay, thank God, because I cannot believe that I would delay your tour because you couldn't sing. Like, that would be crazy. So yeah, then I thought it was over and I was like, wow, that was like just a little moment. Like, that was just cute, whatever. But I'm never gonna see him again. So close the chapter. We'll be Instagram mutuals and it's fine. Girl, like 2 weeks later, I get a text. Hey. And I was like, hey. And he was like, I'm moving. And he was like, I'm moving from my home state to California to pursue my music career. and I'm driving, and I'm gonna be driving through Houston. And I was like, ah, what? And he was like, yeah, so like you wanna like meet up? And I was like, oh my God, what the hell? Like, part 2 of the Wattpad story, like, this is book 2 in the series. And so I was like, okay, like, sure. So we ended up like getting brunch, and he was so sweet, y'all. Okay, so first of all, he was like trying to pay for me, and I was like, oh, you don't gotta do that, because like this is literally like, what, like you're literally seeing me for one day and then you're moving to LA, like that's literally, this is like actually it, right? It's like what I'm thinking. And but he's like, no, like I insist, like da da da. And I was like, okay, like I'll take a free meal, you know? And then he was just like trying to hold my hand and like whatever. Like we went, like after we went to the brunch place, we like went on a walk in a nearby park, and he was like, you know, just like trying to hold my hand, trying to be like cutesy, and like he was like complimenting me and stuff. And I was just like, oh, like he's just such a sweetheart, you know? Like he was just like respectful. Like I felt like he was just so respectful the whole time that like I spent with him. And then that was like it. Like after like the brunch and the walk, then he was like, all right, like I gotta keep going like to LA. And so I was like, okay, like it was so nice to see you, da da da. And so then yeah, I like dropped him off with his friend, and then I was like, okay, now let's close the book. Like book 2 is closed. Okay, end of series. Like we're done publishing, etc. But then he like texts me, and I'm like, oh, okay. So then we're just like having a little convo. Like this was, I can't even remember when this was, if it had been like a little while or if it was like the same. I think it was low-key the same day, because I feel like I remember him sending me like road trip updates. So we're just like texting, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Like I wasn't really attached at this point, because like I was just like, I had just gone through a breakup, and like I knew it wasn't gonna work, because like he was living in LA. Like there's just no, I was like, there's no way that like we're gonna like be like serious. Like we've only hung out twice, and you're gonna be living in LA. So, and also I was like, you're gonna be around like a bunch of like new hot girls, so like you'll be fine. Like you will get over me. Or maybe you won't, because I am kind of special. But you know what I mean? Like I was just like, yeah, it's not gonna work. But yeah, I'm like, you know, let's have some fun. Like it's fun flirting, it's fun texting. Like again, we had that just like good banter, and like his life is so interesting and like cool. So I was like, obviously like I want to hear about like what his daily life is like. Like it's so different from mine as like a college student. We were probably like texting for like 3-4 weeks. I don't even know. Like it had been like a while. And then he was like, I really like you. Girl, like that's crazy, right? Like, I mean, like I said, like I know I'm cool and pretty or whatever, but like that's wild. Like you're fully in LA right now, and you're like a big musician. Like how are you not just like getting girls left in? Like why are you so into me? Like that's crazy. Like not gonna lie, this guy fixed my entire self-esteem profile, because just like what? And I'm like, oh, like yeah, like I really like you too, but like hello, like I live in Houston and you live in LA, like there's just like no way. And he was like, but we could try like long distance. And I was like, girl, the way my jaw dropped, like I was like, that's so wild. We've literally hung out twice in person. Like how are we gonna build a relationship off of that? So then I had to like sadly reject him, but I was like, you know, like blah blah, we can be friends. Like I hate saying that, but like also like, I mean, I did like him. Like I would have considered dating him if we were both in the same city. And so then he was like, darn, okay. And I was like, wow, Wattpad book 3 for real. Like, but yeah, then soon after that I was like, okay, I'm gonna like get on dating apps. So then I got on dating apps, and then that's when I met my most recent ex, Gage, who y'all know, and started a relationship with him. And so like once I was dating Gage, I was like, okay, like I feel like it's wrong for me to be texting M, because like we have a history. And so I just pretty much like stopped talking to him. Yeah, but we're still Instagram mutuals. And after I broke up with Gage, like I reconnected with him like a bit, but like it didn't end up panning out. I feel like by now he's probably moved on. And yeah, but that's the story, girl. That's the story. But yeah, it's crazy. Basically I lived like a little Wattpad fanfic little moment, and I got a really big boost in my self-esteem. Thank you so much, friend, if you're watching this. Love to you for that, because damn. But yeah, that's it. Thank y'all so much for listening to my interesting story. Like, I've never done a story time video, but I love telling stories, and people tell me that I have interesting stories and that I tell stories really well. So I thought I might share this one with y'all. I love Sarah Baska. She's like my favorite YouTuber, and her thing is like story time. So that was like where I got my inspiration from. I was like, let me be a little Sarah Baska girly. But yeah, if y'all enjoyed this video, or if y'all enjoy like story times, you want me to do more because I have interesting stories, girl, then please let me know in the comments, and comment a music note because he was a musician. I love y'all so much, and I can't wait to see you in the next Thrift With Me video. I love y'all. Bye.